Hi guys, Jenny with On Fire Fit, and welcome to another episode of Choose My Shoes. Today I am going to be talking about habits, but how to get through that tough time when you're trying to create new habits. We are going to do that together, but first let's look at the shoes and then I'll let you choose my shoes. Okay, I have chosen some wraparound style shoes for you to help me choose. And the reason is I am going to be talking about wraparound presents. And I had to pick, now I do actually have quite a few more wraparound style shoes, but these are the ones that I thought matched the dress. And I actually happen to be wearing a wraparound style dress. So, of course, it all has to tie in together. But I will be talking a lot more about habits in the near future. But as I was studying in the Bible today, I was loving this one phrase, wraparound presents. So I thought I would bring that into our video today. So I am going to talk a bit about that and then we'll look at the shoes. One of my favorite versions of the Bible is the Passion Translation, and I mentioned it in my previous video, I believe. And I was reading in this version today, and I just loved this passage out of it, and it just seemed to hit me in a new way. And that's why I like reading different translations, just because it kind of gives me different perspectives. I also really love my study Bible, and one of my friends, Derek, has a Bible like that, and we always talk about that where the study notes really help. And so I really love, that's probably the primary Bible I use. But today I was reading in Psalm 33, and it really struck me because of just the choice of words. And for me, I talk a lot about what I am currently going through or my thought process in my own personal life. That's what my videos are always based out of. And I really take my topics that I talk about out of the time that I have been with God and my study time and things like that, because I feel like I don't really have a lot to offer unless I have kind of grounded myself. And so this morning I was in this portion of the Bible and I thought I would share with you. I'm going to read it and then I'll show you how I consider it to tie into my shoes. And of course, you know that I do everything I do because I feel like I would love for people to have the joy and hope that I have. And if I'm just here putting on shoes, I feel like that's fine. I don't criticize anybody for what they're doing as far as that goes. But for me, I just have a deeper meaning for what I do. And so a lot of times I'm approached by people to kind of focus in a different direction. And it's just, even though their heart might be in a different place, it's not for me. And so when I really am grounded in the Lord and what his message is for me and what his message is for you, then I feel like what I'm doing is what I was made to do. And so that's why I share these things with you. I know sometimes people think it's a little bit odd for me to be doing shoes and talking about the Bible, but I will say it a million times over. I believe God gave us gifts and he gave us various things that we love and various passions in our life, and that we can use them for his glory. We definitely can go in a direction that is very based on people pleasing or getting status or getting fame or money or whatever. And for me, that's just not what I'm after. It's not something that brings me peace or joy or contentment, because it's just, to me, this world is so short and not lasting. And so to me, if I only do worldly type of things, I feel like it's not really an eternity mindset. And so I really would rather include all of me, since this is all of me. And if some people get that message, then I believe it will help them with an eternity mindset, which I think is so much healthier than just living moment by moment in the world. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is because one of the beginning things in this verse that I'm about to read talks about worshiping. And that word worship is a very kind of a maybe misunderstood word. I've actually heard people say, oh, I want to worship this or that about you, about a person. And I think what they intend by saying that is that they really like or have an affection or think something is beautiful or whatever. But to me, worship has everything to do with our hearts and how we focus our attention. And so this is all about the habits that we build in our heart. Where is our allegiance? Where is our heart focused? So I can enjoy shoes, but I don't worship them. This isn't my focus. This is sort of like the frame around the picture. You know, Jesus is the picture, and, you know, he gave us beautiful things. And so sometimes we're just bringing that little frame into it. But I really think that it's important that we pay attention to where we worship, which again is that habit building thing. So for me, I look at my life and I look and say, where am I focusing most of my attention, or what do I consider to be most important? Because that's where you're always going to put your time and energy. And so for me, worshiping the Lord means acknowledging him as my number one, and therefore everything else falls into its proper place. So I think we can love shoes, we can think various things are beautiful in the world, but to me it's really important to keep that perspective that he's the one we worship. We don't worship people or things, because that is skewed from how we were made. And so this part I really loved, because sometimes I don't feel like a super strong worshiper of the Lord because I let my attention go in a million different directions. But let's finally get to this. The eyes of the Lord are upon even the weakest worshipers who love him, those who wait in hope and expectation for the strong, steady love of God. God will deliver them from death, even the certain death of famine, with no one to help. The Lord alone is our radiant hope, and we trust in him with all our hearts. His wraparound presence will strengthen us. As we trust, we rejoice with an uncontained joy flowing from Yahweh. Let your love and steadfast kindness overshadow us continually, for we trust and we wait upon you. So, even if you don't feel like you are as focused, or maybe your habits are not really as strong as you want to be in this area of learning how to really put God first, even the weakest worshipers who love him will have God's eyes upon them. The Lord will look upon you and give you his strength. And so I think that's super encouraging for me when I let my habits get off track, or I think, gosh, I always know that when I feel wrapped up in his presence, that I have perfect peace. It's amazing. You can have anything else going on that's crazy in your life and still feel wraparound presence of his love. That, I think, is something that I can't imagine anybody not wanting that, because we know as long as we're living in this life, in this world that's full of sin, that we're going to have things that are going to pull our attention away, that are going to be very disappointing, very heartbreaking. Thankfully, at the end, the Lord will get justice, and he will put an end to all of this. But in the meantime, I believe we need to carry his wraparound presence with us so that we will have that kind of joy and hope, and that we can actually love people correctly. But it all comes from the point of, where is your focus? Where do you worship? What is your one main thing? And then everything else falls in place. So I hope that that kind of gives you an idea. I'm going to repeat some of this as we look at the shoes and as I try on my shoes. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer and we'll take a look at this. And then I would love to hear what shoe you think is the best wraparound shoe for today. Okay, so let's look at some wraparound shoes. Some of these are recent videos. Adrian Malouf. Actually, I'm going to put my Bible down because this could be hard to do at the same time. These are, I would call it a blush color because it's a little bit like a pink, and they are definitely wraparound. I got double wraparound on this one. And of course, the buckles are going to take me a minute here. So as I'm doing this, let's just talk a little bit. So in other versions of the Bible, they don't use that word wraparound, but I think it's such a, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're in a little cocoon and that you're safe. And that's the whole thing. I feel like when I have spent time, I always call it the secret place, because in the Bible, it talks about spending time with God in the secret place. And it's basically where you really carve out time and listen, and you're still without all the distractions. And that's a hard place for me to get into because I do have a lot of things in the world that distract me. I have family and a couple of jobs, and I love doing all my on fire stuff. But when we get into that secret place, that is when things really make sense. So, okay, here we go. Adrian Malouf. And I will do a walk at the end with these. Next up, we have Schutz. And the rest of these, well, actually, this is sort of a blush too. This one is a tan color. And hopefully nobody's zooming in on my fingernail. I'm getting my nails done today, so. All right. And these are wraparound, but they have a nice little line going down, which I like too. And so let's see. It's always hard to get this little piece to go into the buckle. All right. So what do you think? It says, "The Lord alone is our radiant hope, and we trust in him with all our hearts. His wraparound presence will strengthen us." Okay, so these are also easy to wear because of the wraparound. It kind of is strengthening. So of course, ties in. Okay, there we go. And next up we have Steve Madden. Okay, give me a little time here. These are the most true wraparound shoes I think I own. Actually, probably have another pair. But these are not the easiest to get on because there's so many straps. Okay. Let's see if I did that right. Okay, there we go. It's very interesting to me. I would say 90 to 95% of the feedback I get, people totally get like what I'm doing or why I do this with shoes and everything. But There's definitely a group of people that think I should keep it all separated, but I don't know what you think. I just feel like, if I just sat and did faith stuff, that's fine. It's good. That's what I do when I go to my Bible studies and everything. And if I just did shoe try-ons or shoe videos, that would be okay too. But I don't see why putting them together is a problem. If they're all gifts from God and ways that we can think about God more, I guess as my husband always says, he knows my heart, he knows God knows my heart, and so I'm not trying to focus attention on like me, but just the gifts that God has given and the gifts my husband has given. So, okay, what do you think of those? Those are the Steve Maddens. And the last pair will be Massimo, which these are actually a pair from Target. So I bought these. Anybody that knows me well knows that I am not much of a shopper. If I happen to see shoes online or at Target or something, that's where I tend to buy a pair of shoes, but my husband really buys my shoes typically for me because I don't shop much. Okay, so Massimo. Right out the gate, you're going to notice that the first pair of shoes is not represented. Somehow it didn't record, and unfortunately, I am not able to reshoot that portion, so you'll just have to wait for the still shots at the end. But here are the shoes that I do have to show you on the runway. It was a blustery day and quite chilly, so I am glad that I was able to get through this without too many chill bumps, but beautiful anyway. I know a lot of people have much colder conditions to be in. So here are 3 of the shoes. So here we go with Adrian Malouf and Schutz. I hope I said that right. And this is Steve Madden and Massimo. And now we're going to go through the full shots. Since it is Choose My Shoes, I figure you need to see it with the whole outfit. And so I hope you can see all of these shoes with the outfit in my backyard here. And although I didn't end my video with my traditional theme of praying with you all, I do want you to stop and consider God's wraparound presence in your life and how much that can affect your way of thinking, your habits, how you go about what you do throughout the day. And for me, it changes everything, and I hope it does for you too. All right, I hope you have an on fire day, and I will see you in the next video.